you have worked both in, at independent schools and international school settings as well. I think you were in Istanbul,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong. Um, can you tell us a little bit about what that was like? And then, I'd love to know a little bit of, if there's any learnings you took from that international education, bringing it to HTS, or if there's anything that you feel like within Canada, we can learn something from some place like Istanbul. Is there something that stood out there that we don't see over here commonly? Love to
Mhm.
hear about that experience of yours.
Sure. So, yeah, teaching internationally was an experience I knew I wanted. I wanted to go to a place that was a bit more off the beaten path. I think a lot of international educators, especially I went to Istanbul when I was in my 20s. And I think
Mm,
a lot of, those first steps are, people think kind of the Asian countries. And it makes sense because there's so many international schools there. But I wanted to try for something a bit different, just to have a slightly different experience. And Istanbul kind of fell into my lap. I was working with someone who was from Istanbul, who had connections at a really, really top school there, got an interview and, got the job. So living in Istanbul was an experience unlike anything I've ever had. And I think it was one of the first times that I really realized the importance of being able to put aside your own perspectives and expectations
mm,
when you walk into a place. At first, there were things that looked very, very similar. And the more I opened myself up to what the education experience was like there, the cultural experience, just being able to see how many things remained similar and the things that were different and why they were different, it definitely shaped, coming back then to teach in Canada, it definitely shaped just I think my positionality on being more
mm.
open-minded, understanding that there are multiple perspectives that are not my own. And I need to always be mindful that I'm remembering that so that I'm not making assumptions.